Hey guys, it's Bailey. Welcome back to the channel and thank you so much for tuning in to what's going to be a review, some swatches, some applications, some comparisons of the BECCA Chrissy Teigen palette. This was actually almost the review that wasn't because I had this in my cart when it first launched and sat on it for a little too long. I tend to not want to buy things that are limited edition, even though there is one permanent product in here. But because they always, especially something this big and this that has enough hype around it, tends to sell out like that, and then no one can get their hands on it, and I feel bad using it in video knowing that there are rarely dupes. This itself isn't available. So long story short, sat on it too long and it had sold out by the time I went to go hit the purchase button. So I was really excited when I checked the mail one day and BECCA had actually sent this to me. So have been trying it for the past few days and wanted to share my thoughts because, like I said, there is one permanent product, one permanent shade in here that I actually bought the full size of a while back. So I wanted to compare it to that and then give you my thoughts on the rest of the products in here as well. But before we get into all that, if you are new to the channel, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you like what you see to join the Bailey bunch so you never miss a video. Let's dive in. Alrighty, so in here you get two Shimmering Skin Perfector press, one in Rose Gold, which is a permanent shade, and one limited edition shade here that is in Beach Nectar. Then you get a luminous blush in Hibiscus Bloom and a sunlit bronzer in Malibu Soleil. All of these shades are limited edition except for the Rose Gold, and all of them are the same formula as the permanent products except for the blush. The base of this blush has both talc and mica, whereas the permanent blush, the base is just talc. It may contain mica, but the first ingredient in the deck is talc, whereas the first ingredient or first two ingredients in the deck for this blush is both talc and mica. So I was really happy to see that for the most part the formula is the same. These aren't full-size products, even though the highlighters themselves look very, very big. The full-size highlighter is about 50% bigger. You get 50% more product in a full size, but these are still pretty nicely sized highlighters. And then the bronzer, I think the full-size bronzer is about 3 times this size, and the blush is about 2.5 times this size if you were to buy it individually full-size. However, these are limited edition shades, so there is no way to buy the full size. Just a size reference so you can understand the amount of product you're getting in this palette in total for $46 versus what you might pay for the full-size product and the amount of product you get in that. Also, as a side note, before we get into the formula and the performance and the colors and all those kind of stuff, I really like the packaging. I mean, it comes in this nice square, has this rubberized exterior like they have done in the past. The colors or shade names are labeled here on the back, and then you open it up and you get a really nice big mirror inside. It's actually a functional mirror. I've used this to apply these products on other products as well, and it actually will stand up. You don't need to support it. It's not like one of those floppy palettes where it's more cumbersome to work with than it is helpful. So that's good to note as well. So now let's go through the shades. First up is Beach Nectar. This is the limited edition highlighter in here. They describe it as a juicy apricot with gold. I would say I would strike that and reverse it. I think the base, strong base here, is gold and it has a slight pink shift. Then there's Hibiscus Bloom, which they describe as a golden peach coral. They sent me all of the luminous blushes back when they first launched, and so I went through all of them, and sure enough, there isn't one available. I found one kind of close. This is Camellia, but it doesn't have anywhere near the amount of corally peach that Hibiscus Bloom does. So there's really nothing quite like it in the BECCA collection or in any of the other blushes I have in my collection as well. They all either lean to pink or they go to orangey. This is just a really nice, flattering, beautiful combination of pinky coral. And there's the bronzer in Malibu Soleil. They describe it as a medium amber. Yeah, I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense. I have not tried the existing or the new bronzer range they recently came out with to understand how it compares to that in terms of texture, performance, or shade range. I don't know if there's a close shade in there that might match this, but I do think it's going to be flattering on a wide variety of skin tones. When I first shared this on Instagram, somebody asked if they thought this was going to be, or they were concerned that it wouldn't flatter light to fair skin tones. And I have to say, I think it is. These are all, just by nature, these formulas, both the blush and the bronzer, and I mean the highlighters, but more importantly, the bronzer and the blush, are very layerable because there's something in the formula that just, you can apply it sheer, but it's so easily built to become more pigmented. I think people will be surprised at how flattering this is, given how it looks in the pan, but it can really be sheared out to just be worn very subtly on the cheeks or built up to be an intense bronzy glow. And the same can be said for the blush, which I do want to point out in terms of texture consistency, because I did say the formula was different. I personally didn't notice any major difference in the texture and like how these wear perform, because one is talc and mica based versus just being talc based. No difference there that I noticed. The same cannot be said, however, for rose gold. Not that there's a texture or performance difference, but I was kind of surprised to see there is a color difference. When I swatched this on the back of my hand compared to the permanent rose gold that I have, I was really surprised to see that the rose gold in the Chrissy palette was more gold, whereas the permanent rose gold was more pink. And at first when I swatched two together, I thought, okay, they're so similar, you're not gonna be able to notice a difference when they're actually on your cheeks, but you actually notice more of a difference when they're sheared out because of the way I think it's in the way the shift pulls. It's not really the undertone, it's like the permanent one pulls more pink when it's sheared out, whereas the one in the Chrissy palette pulls more gold. It's definitely noticeable, which makes sense because I remembered when I found out this was rose gold in this palette, I almost didn't believe it because I rarely would wear the permanent rose gold because it's almost like a blush, what's it called? An over blush or something? Like a blush topper for me, because it is so pigmented with pink that it looks unnatural as a highlighter on my skin tone. And so I just had, after staring at them for a good long while, trying to figure out what the difference was, that's it. The permanent rose gold pulls a lot more pink when sheared out, whereas the palette rose gold pulls a lot more gold, which I think is going to make it a lot more flattering for a wider range of skin tones. But if you personally love rose gold and you were looking forward to having an exact dupe of it in this palette, I wouldn't say you get it. That said though, it's not a deterrent for me. I would still recommend it to anyone who's interested because overall the palette is a great value for the money, especially knowing that the formulas for the most part are the same from here to the permanent formulas. But just something to note, if you think you are getting an exact shade dupe and you love the rose gold and how it wears on your skin, I would anticipate experiencing some differences with this one because they are certainly different in mine. Then in terms of performance, I mean, it's BECCA. Like I said, they're very buildable, they last all day, they have the same consistent texture and buildable pigmentation, very smooth, they don't apply patchy at all. All of these have some sort of shimmery or satin component to them, like the bronzer is satin, it's not a completely matte bronzer, the blush has some shimmer to it, but all in very subtle ways. When you wear them together, you don't look like a massive glitter bomb. I mean, you can see I'm wearing the three, the blush, the bronzer, and then I actually put on the Beach Nectar today so you could see what the limited edition color in here looks like, and I feel none too sparkly. Like, it's a very natural, healthy looking glow, but could obviously be built up if you really wanted an intense highlight. This is BECCA after all. And then of course they definitely recommend wearing specifically the highlight shades as basically everywhere. They're great for eye shades, which I agree. There's a hint of pink in here, but not so much that it's going to look sickly if you wear it on your eyes. It's going to be a great full body highlight on your clavicle during the summer, well, or you know, whenever you want to wear it, but full body highlight if you want to mix it in with things. So overall, I mean, given everything I've said in the video, it's no surprise. I recommend you pick it up if you're interested in checking it out. It is limited edition, so if you do fall in love with one of these shades, even if it's rose gold, you won't necessarily be able to pick it up if and when you run out. But if you know and love the BECCA formula and you just want to expand upon your existing shade range, this would be a good thing to pick up, given how well everything performed and how well all of these products are coordinated together. So those are all my thoughts, guys. Hope you found this helpful. Definitely let me know if you have any other questions that I didn't get to in this video. Comment down below. Let me know if you're planning on picking it up, what you think of this whole collaboration. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye, guys.